There is a silent truth that lives beneath the noise of your thoughts, beneath the weight of your past, beneath the identity you have carefully constructed and defended for so long. It whispers instead of shouts. It waits instead of demands. And if you become still enough, if you soften your grip on who you think you are, you will hear it say, the more you let go, the more life gives you. Let me ask you something gently but directly. What are you holding on to right now that is holding you back? What memory, what resentment, what fear, what need to control is clenched so tightly in your fist that your hands are no longer open to receive? You see, life cannot place new blessings into closed hands. The universe responds not to force, but to allowance, not to grasping, but to surrender. Imagine you are standing at the edge of the ocean. You scoop up a handful of water and you grip it tightly, determined to keep it. What happens? It slips through your fingers. But if you cup your hands gently, relaxed and open, the water rests there effortlessly. This is how life works. The ego believes that survival depends on holding on. The soul knows that abundance flows to those who trust. You are not here to struggle against the current. You are here to become one with it. The ego says, if I let go, I will lose. The soul says, if you let go, you will be carried, and the ocean does not argue with the wave. The wave may believe it is separate, may believe it must fight for its form and defend its shape, but in truth, it has never been separate from the ocean. It rises, it falls, it dissolves, and the ocean remains. You are not the wave, you are the ocean. When you cling to a grievance, you are saying to the universe, I choose pain over peace. When you cling to a failed relationship, you are saying, I trust my fear more than I trust life. When you cling to an identity built from past wounds, you are saying, I am what happened to me, but you are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become in this moment. The past has no power except the power you give it. It is a memory, a thought, a story, replayed again and again by a mind that believes its survival depends on keeping the wound alive. But what if you simply decided that the story no longer defines you? What if you became like the sky, allowing clouds to pass without trying to rearrange them? The sky does not chase away the storm. It does not cling to the sunshine. It allows, and in allowing, it remains vast, untouched, infinite. You are the sky. Your thoughts are the clouds. Let them pass. Letting go is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength. It takes no courage to defend a grudge. It takes immense courage to release it. It takes no awareness to blame others. It takes profound spiritual maturity to say, I choose peace instead. And when you choose peace, something miraculous occurs. Energy that was once trapped in resentment becomes available for creation. Energy that was once tied to fear becomes available for love. Everything is energy. Every thought you think vibrates. Every emotion you feel sends a signal into the field of infinite possibility. When you hold on to anger, you tune yourself to the frequency of anger. When you hold on to lack, you align with scarcity. But when you let go, when you surrender your need to be right, to be validated, to be in control, you rise to a higher vibration. You align with abundance itself. The ego thrives on comparison. It whispers, look at them. They have more. They are ahead. You are behind. But abundance is not a competition. The sun does not compare itself to the moon. The oak tree does not resent the rose. Each fulfills its purpose without measuring itself against another. When you let go of comparison, you step into your own divine design, and life begins to support you in ways you could not have imagined. Consider the orange. If you squeeze an orange, what comes out? Orange juice. It could not produce apple juice or grape juice. What comes out is what is inside. When life squeezes you through loss, through betrayal, through uncertainty, what comes out? If anger comes out, it was inside. If fear comes out, it was inside. But here is the liberating truth. You can change what is inside. You can fill yourself with compassion, with trust, with forgiveness. And then when life squeezes you, love will flow. But you cannot fill a cup that is already overflowing with yesterday. Let go of the need to replay conversations that ended years ago. Let go of the imaginary arguments you win in your mind. Let go of the belief that holding on to pain honors your suffering. It does not. It prolongs it. Forgiveness is not for them. It is for you. It is the decision to free yourself from carrying what no longer serves your soul. Ask yourself, who would I be without this story? Who would I be without this resentment? Who would I be without this fear? And feel the spaciousness that arises when you contemplate that question. That spaciousness is your true nature. It is the field of infinite possibility. It is where miracles occur. When you let go, you create space, and nature abhors a vacuum. The space will be filled. But what fills it depends on your intention. Intention is not something you do, it is a force that you align with. It is the invisible energy that organizes the universe. When your intention is peace, you begin to see opportunities where once you saw obstacles. When your intention is love, you attract experiences that reflect love back to you. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. So, who are you being? Are you being the victim of your past, or are you being the creator of your future? Are you being the fearful protector of an ego identity? Or are you being the infinite soul expressing through a human form? The more you let go of who you think you should be, the more you become who you truly are. There is a profound paradox in the spiritual journey. Surrender leads to power. The ego equates surrender with defeat. But surrender is simply the recognition that you are not separate from the intelligence that beats your heart and spins the planets. You do not command your heart to beat. You do not instruct the sun to rise. There is a divine orchestration at work, and you are part of it. When you resist it, you suffer. When you align with it, you flow. Flow does not mean passivity. It means inspired action. It means acting from clarity rather than fear. It means trusting that what is meant for you cannot be taken from you. It means releasing the need to control outcomes and focusing instead on embodying the highest version of yourself. What if the very thing you are clinging to is the very thing blocking your next miracle? What if your insistence on a specific outcome is preventing the universe from delivering something far greater? When you let go of the how, you allow the infinite intelligence of life to surprise you. Look at nature. The tree releases its leaves in autumn without panic. It does not cling to them and say, "Without these leaves, I will not survive." It trusts the cycle. And in that trust, new leaves appear in spring. But imagine if the tree refused to let go, the old leaves would decay and suffocate new growth. This is what happens when you refuse to release old identities, old roles, old pain. You suffocate your own renewal. Let it fall away. Let the labels dissolve. Let the need for approval fade. Let the attachment to outcomes soften. In that softening, you discover something extraordinary. You were never lacking. You were never incomplete. You were simply entangled in illusion. The ego is an illusion of separateness. It tells you that you must defend yourself, compete, prove, achieve, accumulate. It measures worth by external markers. But your worth is not earned. It is inherent. You are a divine being having a human experience, not a human desperately trying to become divine. When you let go of the need to prove yourself, you begin to experience life as a gift rather than a test. You begin to wake up each morning with curiosity instead of anxiety. You begin to see challenges as teachers rather than threats, and something subtle but powerful shifts within you. You move from contraction to expansion. Expansion is your natural state. Joy is your natural state. Love is your natural state. Fear is learned. Scarcity is conditioned. Resentment is practiced. But just as you learn them, you can unlearn them. You can choose again. Choice is your greatest power. In this moment, you can choose to release. In this moment, you can choose to trust. In this moment, you can choose to say, I am not my past. I am not my fear. I am not my limitations. I am infinite possibility expressing itself. And when you say that, not just with words, but with conviction, the universe responds. The more you let go of control, the more you experience synchronicity. The more you let go of fear, the more you experience love. The more you let go of scarcity, the more abundance finds you. Not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. Abundance is not something you chase. It is something you allow. Peace is not something you earn. It is something you remember. Love is not something you find. It is what you are. Let go of the belief that you must struggle to deserve what you desire. Let go of the belief that suffering is noble. Let go of the identity that says, this is just who I am. You are not fixed. You are fluid. You are not confined. You are expansive. Close your eyes for a moment and feel the presence within you that is aware of these words. That awareness has never been harmed. It has never been diminished. It has simply observed. That awareness is your true self, and it is free. When you live from that awareness, you move through the world lightly. You no longer need to win every argument. You no longer need to control every outcome. You no longer need to cling to every possession or person. You love deeply, but you do not grasp. You engage fully, but you do not attach. And paradoxically, the more lightly you hold life, the more richly it fills your hands. So today, make a sacred decision. Decide that you will release one thing that no longer serves you, one grievance, one fear, one outdated belief. Offer it to the universe. Say, I trust you more than I trust my fear, and watch what unfolds. Because life is not withholding from you, it is waiting for you to open. The more you let go, the more life gives you. Not because life was stingy before, but because you were closed. Open now, trust now, release now. You are not losing anything real. You are shedding illusion. You are returning to truth. You are remembering that you are the ocean, not the wave, the sky, not the cloud, the infinite, not the temporary. And in that remembrance, abundance flows. In that remembrance, love multiplies. In that remembrance, you are free. And as you begin to live from this remembrance, something subtle yet undeniable starts to transform within you. You notice that the urgency that once drove your decisions begins to dissolve. The pressure to arrive, to prove, to perform starts to feel foreign, almost unnecessary. You realize that life was never a race to a finish line, it was a dance, and you were meant to feel every step. There is a sacred intelligence woven into the fabric of existence, a quiet harmony guiding all things toward growth. The seed does not strain to become the tree. It does not question whether it is worthy of sunlight. It simply responds to its nature. And you too have a nature, one that is creative, loving, expansive. But when you resist your own unfolding, when you cling to rigid expectations of how your life must look, you interfere with that intelligence. Surrender is not giving up on your dreams. It is releasing the illusion that you must force them into form. It is trusting that the same wisdom that shapes galaxies also shapes your path. When you allow this trust to settle into your bones, you move differently. You speak more gently. You listen more deeply. You act not from anxiety, but from alignment. Consider how much energy has been spent trying to manage the opinions of others. How often have you edited yourself to be accepted? How many times have you silenced your truth to avoid disapproval? The need for validation is a heavy garment, and it was never tailored to fit your soul. When you remove it, you feel lighter, more authentic, more at ease in your own presence. The approval you seek outside is a reflection of a deeper longing, the longing to accept yourself fully. And self-acceptance does not come from achievement. It comes from awareness. It comes from recognizing that your essence is untouched by mistakes, untouched by judgment, untouched by comparison. Beneath every role you have played is a being of immeasurable worth. When you release the demand to be understood by everyone, you free yourself to understand yourself. When you stop seeking agreement, you begin to embody integrity. And integrity is a magnetic force. It draws to you experiences and relationships that resonate with your truth. Life responds to authenticity. When you no longer chase what is not meant for you, you create room for what is. Opportunities begin to appear in unexpected ways. Conversations unfold that feel divinely timed. Doors open that you did not even know existed. This is not coincidence. It is coherence. It is the natural result of being in harmony with your own spirit. And harmony requires stillness. In the quiet moments, when the world is not demanding your attention, you can feel the gentle guidance within. It does not shout instructions. It offers impressions, nudges, subtle inclinations. The soul speaks in whispers, but if your mind is crowded with fear and attachment, you will miss its voice. Let go of the noise. Release the compulsion to fill every silence. Allow space between your thoughts. In that space, insight emerges. Clarity arises. You begin to sense which actions feel expansive and which feel contracted. Follow what expands you. That expansion is the language of your higher self. There is a profound difference between effort and struggle. Effort is aligned with purpose. It feels energized, meaningful, alive. Struggle is rooted in resistance. It feels heavy, draining, forced. When you let go of resistance, effort becomes joyful. You work not to prove your worth, but to express it. Expression is the natural overflow of a soul at peace. And when you live as an expression rather than a performer, you stop measuring your value by outcomes. Success and failure lose their grip. You begin to see every experience as part of a larger tapestry. Even what once seemed like loss reveals itself as redirection. Even what felt like rejection becomes protection. Trust this unfolding. There are moments when life will ask you to release something you deeply cherish, a role, a relationship, a vision you held dear. In those moments, fear may arise, but beneath the fear is an invitation to expand beyond what you thought was possible, an invitation to step into a new dimension of yourself. Growth often requires emptiness before renewal. Do not rush to fill the emptiness. Sit with it. Let it teach you. Within that space, you discover resilience you did not know you possessed. You discover that your identity is not tied to any external circumstance. You discover that you are capable of beginning again. Beginning again is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of courage. Every sunrise is a reminder that endings are illusions. The sun appears to set, but it is merely shifting perspective. What you call an ending is often a transformation beyond your current understanding. When you release your attachment to a particular form, you allow the essence of what you love to reappear in new and surprising ways. The heart that lets go does not become empty, it becomes spacious. And in that spaciousness, compassion deepens. You begin to see others not as adversaries, but as fellow travelers navigating their own lessons. Judgment softens, empathy grows. You recognize that everyone is doing the best they can with the awareness they have. This recognition does not excuse harmful behavior, but it frees you from carrying bitterness. Compassion is liberation. When you view life through the lens of compassion, you no longer take everything personally. You understand that others' actions are reflections of their inner state, not a measure of your worth. This understanding dissolves unnecessary conflict. It protects your peace. Peace is not the absence of difficulty. It is the presence of centered awareness. As you cultivate this awareness, you notice that your reactions change. Where you once reacted impulsively, you now respond consciously. Where you once felt threatened, you now feel curious. You begin to ask, what is this moment teaching me? Instead of, why is this happening to me? This shift in questioning transforms your reality. The mind that seeks blame remains trapped. The mind that seeks understanding evolves. When you approach life as a student rather than a victim, every experience becomes valuable. Even discomfort becomes a guide, pointing you toward areas that need healing or growth. Healing is not about erasing the past. It is about integrating it with wisdom. You do not need to pretend that pain did not occur. You need only release the identity built around it. You can honor your journey without being defined by its hardships. The scars you carry are not signs of weakness. They are evidence of survival. But survival is not the final destination. Thriving is. Thriving begins when you stop resisting who you are becoming. There is a version of you emerging right now, more aligned, more intuitive, more at ease. This version is not striving to be superior. It is simply aligned with truth, and truth feels expansive. It feels like coming home after a long journey. Home is not a place. It is a state of being. When you are at home within yourself, you do not fear change. You welcome it. You understand that life is movement, and you are part of that movement. You stop trying to anchor yourself to certainty and instead anchor yourself to awareness. Awareness is unshakable. Circumstances will shift. People will come and go. Roles will evolve. But the awareness that observes it all remains constant. When you identify with that awareness, you experience freedom even in the midst of transition. Freedom is not the ability to control everything. It is the ability to remain centered no matter what unfolds. And from this center, generosity flows naturally. You give not to receive, but because giving is an expression of abundance. You share your time, your kindness, your creativity, without fear of depletion. Why? Because you understand that the source of what you give is infinite. When you give from fullness, you receive without asking. Life mirrors your internal state. If you feel whole, you see wholeness. If you feel grateful, you encounter reasons for gratitude. Gratitude itself is a form of letting go of complaint, letting go of entitlement, letting go of the belief that something is missing. Nothing essential is missing. You may desire more growth, more connection, more joy, and that desire is natural. But it need not arise from deficiency. It can arise from inspiration. There is a difference between wanting because you feel incomplete and wanting because you are excited to expand. Expansion fueled by joy feels effortless. As you continue this journey of release, remember that letting go is not a single event. It is a practice. Some days it will feel natural. Other days it will require courage. Be gentle with yourself. Transformation is not linear. It spirals, revisits, deepens. Each time you release, you rise. Each time you trust, you strengthen your connection to the unseen support that surrounds you. You are not navigating this life alone. There is a field of intelligence responding to your every intention. Align your intention with love, with truth, with peace, and watch how reality rearranges itself. You are a co-creator, not through force, but through frequency. Not through domination, but through alignment. The more you align with your highest self, the more life reflects that alignment back to you. And so you continue, lighter than before, softer yet stronger, surrendered yet empowered. You walk forward, not clutching, but open, not fearing, but trusting, not demanding, but allowing. And in that allowing, life pours into you with a generosity that once seemed unimaginable. Because you finally understand it was never about holding on. It was always about becoming free enough to receive. And so you stand here now, not as someone who has conquered life, but as someone who has softened into it. The armor has fallen away. The tight grip has loosened. The restless striving has quieted into a gentle trust. You no longer ask life to bend to your will. You ask only to be aligned with its wisdom. Feel the spaciousness within you. There was a time when you believed that safety came from control, that love required possession, that success demanded strain. But now you see more clearly. The river does not force its way to the sea. It flows, because flowing is its nature. And you too have a nature, a divine rhythm that moves you toward growth, toward connection, toward joy. When you stop resisting that rhythm, you discover that you have always been supported. Nothing real can be taken from you. Nothing essential can be withheld. What falls away was never your foundation. What remains is unshakable. You are not defined by what you accumulate. You are revealed by what you release. Each surrender has made you lighter. Each act of forgiveness has made you stronger. Each moment of trust has expanded your capacity to receive. And now you understand in the deepest part of your being that life is not something to conquer, it is something to commune with. Breathe into that knowing. You are not here to cling. You are here to create. You are not here to defend a fragile identity. You are here to remember your infinite nature. When you loosen your hold on fear, love rushes in. When you relinquish your attachment to outcomes, miracles find space to enter. When you surrender the illusion of separateness, you experience unity with all that is. And in that unity, there is no lack. There is only unfolding. There is only becoming. There is only the quiet, radiant truth that as you release what you are not, you awaken fully to what you have always been, whole, guided, abundant, and free. The more you let go, the more life gives you. Not because life has changed, but because you have